Did you hit the record? Oh, there we go.
Just it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great week, Tuesday. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, got to spend some time with friends and family and eat a whole bunch of food. It's very interesting as a fitness professional listening to people go into Thanksgiving and they talk about, all the food that they ate and that they overeat all the time, during Thanksgiving. And that's probably why they gain weight. And from now, middle of November, all the way to New Year's, we always talk about weight gain. And, it's very interesting to me because most of the food, if you look at it during Thanksgiving, is corn, green beans, mashed potatoes, broccoli, salad, turkey. Normally, when you eat those things on a regular basis, they don't make you gain weight. So I don't understand what the difference is other than maybe eating apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, whatever those are, whatever. But, it's very interesting how they talk about how they're not going to do it, then they end up doing it, and then the next day, the day after, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it, but you did it again, right? The same thing, the same program that you were doing last year, same program that you were doing a year before, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you're still doing the exact same thing. Now, I've noticed that if you continue to keep doing that same routine, you're going to keep getting the same thing that you've gotten. The other thing that keeps coming up, now that we're moving closer to the end of 2020, I mean, everybody can pretty much agree that 2020 was pretty much a trash year. And you either could look at it as a positive and think about all the things that you could have done for personal development, or you could look at all the negative and focus on the media and all the propaganda and focus on the negativity and feel worse. And I hear a lot of people talking that, I can't wait for 2021 because, 2020 is going to be over with. It brings me to listening to people's New Year's resolutions as if the strike of the clock at 12 o'clock from 2020 to 2021 is going to magically change the last 45 years of your life. And all of a sudden, you're going to have this New Year's resolution. You're going to have this epiphany. You're going to have this law, and the light from the heavens is going to shine upon you, and you're not going to make any stupid decisions ever again. But within the first week of New Year's, right, we all see people. Hopefully it's not any of us, but we see people. And if it is, that's okay. But if you see people that are right back 7 days in, 14 days in, less than a month in, they're already right back into the same behavior, same patterns, same things that they're doing before. When the clock strikes, whether it's a New Year's resolution or it's 2020 going into 2021, nothing is going to change. The COVID experience that we are all having is not going to magically disappear. Things are not going to be different in 2021 unless you change your mindset. So think about this, right? Since we've been in a pandemic and some of us are quarantined and some of us are more quarantined than others, one of the things that you could really catch up on is all your Netflix, right? And all your Amazon. Now, if you're watching, and after a while, it kind of gets boring. I've even heard this, that people are like, I have nothing else to watch on Netflix. Well, maybe you should read a book. I don't know. But that is said, right? Or that aside, we're not going to judge. So you're watching a movie on Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix or whatever your poison of choice is. You're watching it and you're just like, oh hey, this is new. This is in my queue. Let me check this out. So you start watching 5 minutes of it. You start watching 10 minutes of it. Maybe you get to the 15-minute point, perhaps even the 20, because you're hoping that it's going to get better. And at 15 minutes in, you're like, hey, you know what? This one is not for me. We should probably change it and watch something else. What do you think? Now, you have a couple options at this moment. You could either throw a shoe at the TV. You could break your Xbox or break whatever device you're streaming from. Or you could get up and change the channel. I mean, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Nobody gets up and changes the channel anymore. You're going to press the button and you're going to go back and you're going to find something else in your queue, right? So why don't we do that in our lives? We keep watching the same rerun, the same program every single day. We wake up. The first thing we wake up to in the morning is all the worries of yesterday. Then we worry about all those things that are not going right. All the things that we haven't been able to do. And then we get right into our routine. We get up, we brush our teeth, we put on our shoes, we have our coffee, we're late running out the door because we've hit snooze 5 times every single day for the last 10 or 15 years. We go to work the exact same way. We drive the same way. We see the same coworkers. We have the same experiences with those coworkers that create that same experience in our mind, that create that same experience in our body. We get those same dopamine or lack of dopamine. We get the same adrenaline every single day. And we wonder why nothing works for us. We wonder why our future isn't going to be any better than our past. Because we keep watching the same routine. We don't get up and change the channel. So what you have to do, and I say you as in general, not you as in pointing a finger at somebody specific. You have to stop and start focusing on your thoughts and your behaviors that you're experiencing throughout the day. Because when you experience something, you have an energy towards that experience. You have an emotion towards that experience. Then you have thoughts towards that experience, whether they're negative or positive. Then you have actions, and those actions become habits, those habits become behaviors, and those behaviors become your life. And that is the movie of your life. So if you're doing the exact same thing you're doing today that you were doing 5 days ago, that you were doing 5 months ago, that you were doing 5 years ago, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, up here, if you're wishful thinking, saying, man, 2021 is going to be better for me than it has in the last 5 years, the last 5 months, the last 5 days, last 5 minutes, it's not going to be any different because you haven't stopped to get up and change the channel. So what we've got to do is we have to start focusing on our thoughts. We have to get out of the repetitive, unconscious behaviors that have become our lives. And we have to start to focus on those thoughts, those feelings that we have throughout the day. Now, we're bombarded by thoughts and feelings. So start focusing on 2 of them or 3 of them or 4 of them. And when you start to feel those thoughts, when you start to feel those emotions, when that person that you see or that music that you hear starts to get that emotional or that physical response, then you have to stop in that moment and do the exact opposite. If it's not positive, it's not benefiting you, then you need to redirect that energy. And in that moment, you can start to change your behaviors, change your habits, and that will help you change the course of your life. That will help you reprogram, get up and change the channel. One thought, one behavior, one emotion, one energy at a time, you'll be able to change what you're doing. If you focus, like if you think about a plane, right, and you're on autopilot. If you're flying in a straight line from here to Washington, D.C., you're going to make it, right? And that autopilot, every time the wind moves the plane a little bit, that autopilot brings it right back on course. But if you're just off 3 feet or 1 foot or half a foot when you leave Atlanta, you're going to end up in New York. You're not going to end up in Washington, D.C. And that is a big change. Just being a little bit off when you start. So you need to get on that autopilot, but you need to correct and be in charge of your autopilot and make sure that your plane isn't just flying haphazardly all over the place. So every morning, start thinking about how your day is going to be. Start to feel that gratitude. When you go to bed at night, the last thing you should do is not be watching the news, not should be watching TV. It should be thinking about gratitude, all the things you're grateful for. And if you're not grateful for anything, you have nothing to be grateful for. You can be grateful for the phone that you have. You could be grateful for that meditation app that you have, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't have those, right? You could be grateful for the pen. You could be grateful for your journal. You could be grateful for your family, for your dogs that you had experiences with. You could be grateful for everything. And when you start to feel that energy before you go to bed, your subconscious mind, while you're sleeping, is going to help you get your autopilot back on and change the direction of your life. But if you constantly, I talk about, most people are already dead, and they tiptoe silently, quietly to their grave, right? They're not dead physically yet, but they're dead emotionally, they're dead mentally, and they're just zombies walking through life. But don't be a zombie. If you really believe, if you really say, hey, you know what, I want 2021 to be better than 2020, you got to make it happen. You can't just say it. That's the first part, but you got to do. There's action. And you got to think, if you're 45 years old, and I keep saying 45 because I'm 45, I think Jenny's about to turn 42. If you've been doing the same things for the last 30 years, 40 years, it's not going to happen overnight. You'll start to see incremental changes, like getting your autopilot back shifted to where you want to go. But it's not going to happen overnight in one thought, one experience. You're going to have to break through all those cobwebs. You're going to have to break through all those weeds to replant your garden and start to focus and get the life that you want. So, we are the captains of our ships. We are the masters of our destiny. We can do and be and have whatever we want, but we have to be the captain of that ship. We have to be the pilot of our plane. We have to be the leader of our lives. And once we can figure out our lives, then it's much easier for other people to follow us, because they will say, hey, that person knows where they're going. I like it. It feels good being around them. I'm going to go where you're going. And that's how we lead people. So today, I hope that was good. I hope it was inspiring for you. I hope it was motivational. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Let's do this, man. We've got 31 days left in the year. Let's kick butt. Let's not slow down yet. Let's kick butt into 2021. This is the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, the last 30 days. I like to always in the last 30 days read Think and Grow Rich. And I just got this book I was showing Jenny the other night, Atomic Habits, which helps you habit stack and helps you get out of the things that you're doing, the bad habits, and replacing them with good habits. So with that being said, man, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Stay warm out there, especially if you're in one of the cold seasons. And we'll see you guys next.